Hi, my name's Dave Caesar. Maybe you've read about me on the internet, or you've been to one of the clinics I've done at Nike Coach of the Year or Frank Glazier Mega Clinic. Or maybe you're just here and want to know how in the world did they win 94% of their games with 6 different teams in over 8 seasons in cities 90 miles apart. Well, before we get into that, I really want to talk about why it is that we coach youth football. You know, none of us want to be that guy that's known for having teams that aren't competitive, whose teams aren't fundamentally sound, whose teams don't run good practices, or maybe have practices where kids don't want to come to, or whose teams underachieve. We all want to be the other guy. We want to be that guy who's, when your kids see you in the mall or at the gas station, they run up to you and they're excited to see you and they smile, have a smile on their face, or they give you a big hug and they want to reminisce about their past season. Or maybe it's a situation that, 10 years later after you coach the kid, you get a nice letter in the mail about what a huge impact you've had on their lives. Well, it's hard to get those positives when your teams aren't competitive. And what I mean by competitive is putting your kids in the best situation they can be, so that regardless of their skill level, they have a chance to compete. A lot of kids do drop out in youth football. In fact, there's a Michigan State study that's come out that says that more than 70% of kids that are playing youth football today will never play high school football. And the reason the kids quit is because of 3 main factors. Number 1, poor coaching. Number 2, their teams aren't competing. And number 3, they lack reasonable amounts of playing time. And my system can address all 3 of those issues. You know, as a youth football coach, part of our job should be to instill a love in the game for the kids so that when they get older, they really want to play. In 1998, I might have been in the same situation that many of you are in. I had formed a new program. We were in a city league, that very competitive program, that had garnered a number of national championship teams. There were Heisman Trophy winners and Outland Trophy winners that had actually played in our league, and we weren't very competitive. We were in fact losing kids because our teams just couldn't compete with the other teams in our league. So I took 2 years off of coaching as the organization was growing to develop a program and system that all of our teams could use to compete in this league, regardless of the amount of talent we had, regardless of the amount of size or speed that we had. That could be used comprehensively over all of our teams to allow all of our teams to compete. Since putting that system in, we went from a very also-run program to a very dominant program. And in fact, my personal teams have gone a combined 78 wins and 5 losses since then. And I've done it with over 8 seasons, with 6 totally different teams, in 6 different divisions of 3 different leagues, in 2 different cities 90 miles apart. Why does the system work? I'll get to that in a minute. Before I do, let me dispel some possible misinformation. A lot of folks say, well, geez, if they win in all those games, they must practice year-round, cut players, practice 5 days a week. Through our practice methodology, we're able to cut off so much time out of our practices, and we do things in such a modular fashion that we're able to practice actually much less than probably any team in our league. Most of the teams in our league practice 5 days a week. We practice 3 days a week until school starts, and then after that we practice 2 days a week. So we're practicing about half the amount of our competition. We don't cut any players. We give our players more playing time than any other team in our league. We do it very strategically in a very methodical fashion. But if you watch our game films, you'll see that we get our kids plenty of very reasonable playing time, and we do it also with schemes that allow for situations where we don't require terribly athletic players at certain positions. And we're also a terribly great team when it comes to sportsmanship. We've got a great reputation there. So it isn't mutually exclusive. Having fun, teaching great fundamentals, having good sportsmanship, practicing reasonable amounts of time, and getting kids into games are not mutually exclusive goals. You can win and do all those things too. You can. And our books and tapes will show you how to do that. This system isn't a bunch of fluff. I mean, it's been called the McDonald's franchise approach to developing youth football teams. It's a step-by-step, detailed approach. No fluff, no theory. This is what you do. Step A, step B. The first practice, you do this for 10 minutes, this for 20 minutes, this for 5 minutes. This is how you evaluate. This is how you score. There are pictures, there are diagrams. It is written to the atomic level on how to do this. And it isn't written at a level where we talk about a technique or A or B gaps or 3 techniques. It's all written in a fashion that anyone can understand. Tom Osborne has endorsed this system and this book, as well as Dave Remington, the Outland Trophy winner, as well as a number of youth coaches. I mean, go to the testimonials portion of the site. We're adding them all the time, including some video testimonials. So don't just take my word for it. Take the word of youth coaches all across the country. I just encourage you to take the time to get better as a coach so that you can give your kids better memories of their youth football experience and give them an opportunity to develop a love for the game, because we all know that the game teaches so much. And the price of the videos is less than what most of us pay for a coaching shirt, but certainly less than the registration cost for most teams. So get started today, and we certainly appreciate your time and wish you well in your upcoming season.